Hi guys, today we're going to be doing this. It's the 3D version of the 2D version I released about a week ago. Let's get to it. Let's bring in a Fusion comp. Click on Effects, under Effects, bring in a Fusion comp to the timeline. Put your playhead on it and click on the Fusion page. Drag the media out in here. Generally speaking, it's always good to start with the background node. Drop the alpha under inspector to 0 so that it is transparent. If I drag it here, you see it's transparent. Then connect that to the media out. Then because we are creating a stinger that we want the edge of the slab to be kind of rounded, we want a bit of manipulation to it. It's always good to use the shape nodes. The shape nodes are the nodes that start with S. So I'm going to click on an empty part of the node grid, Shift Spacebar, sRectangle. Click that, just drag that to the left side. So for the width, I can set this to 1. That fills the whole screen up. My resolution is HD. That's 1920 by 1080. So for me to calculate the height, I'll just do this. I'll right click on this, click on expression. Then I'll type. Then I'll connect this to the width like so. So we have width here. We now multiply this by 8 bracket 1080 divided by 1920. You get what I'm doing here? And press enter. So you see we have 0.5625. So we have, if we zoom out here, I hold down control, I zoom out here, we have the exact framing for an HD screen. Now, but I want it to be slightly bigger than actual HD because I want these edges to be curved and I don't want the curve to be showing on the edge here. So I'm just going to go to the width here and add maybe like 2 to it. Now, if I go here, you'll see that it's slightly outside the frame here. So I go to the corner radius, I set this to 0.075. So you'll see it kind of fits in perfectly there. Let's maybe increase this to 0.1025. So it's better. There's a bit more clearance now. Just say 1.03. Okay, so we are good with the slab itself. Now to bring it into 3D space, Shift Spacebar, Extrude 3D, this node here, add that. Then we drag this to the left viewer. We have the slab here. Now for the Extrude 3D, I'm going to set the extrusion depth to 0.1. I can click on this to see how this looks in 3D as the light hits it. Then we have that slab in there. But I don't want, if I zoom in and hold down control and scroll down, you see that the edges are kind of sharp. I don't want it to be that sharp. I want it to be kind of chamfered. So I'm going to go to Extrude 3D. Then I'm going to go to the bevel depth. I'm going to set this to 0.1. The bevel width 0.1. And then we have this chamfered edge thing going. So I'm going to bring in the text 3D node. Let's drag that in here. Let's drag that to the right viewer. Now for the matte result, let's just type matte. So we click on here, we pick a font. Let's look for Sign Painter, like so. We pick that font. Under Extrude, I increase this extrusion depth to 0.1. The bevel depth to 0.02. Bevel width 0.02. Let's go to Customs and select this. I'm just going to drag this so that it touches this part here. I'm going to drag this handle here. Click on there, drag this handle so it touches that part. Then this edges here, just make sure they are vertical. Same thing with this one, like so. So we have this like that. You can click on this to see how the light hits it. So now we want to put it on this. So I'm just going to merge them together. Merge being the functional word. So I'm going to get the merge node, merge 3D node, different from the 2D node, merge 3D. Connect these together. Now before I do this, let's just move this here. I'm going to click on here, Shift Spacebar, bring in the transform 3D node. The reason why I'm bringing this in is because I want to increase the size of this slab so it fits in with what will come out in the renderer 3D node. Let me show you what I mean. let's say I click on here, like shift spacebar, bring in a renderer 3D node, render 3D node, add, just put this forward a bit, and let's connect this to the render 3D node, and I drag this here. You see the slab is kind of small, so what I'll do is go to this transform and increase the scale. Let's say we say it's 3. 3 is pretty big, so I'm just going to go here, reduce it until get something. Let's hold down Control Zoom out so we see how that fits in. Like so. I just want this curve to be completely out of view, so I'm just going to keep scrolling till it's kind of completely out of view. Let's just say 2.6, like so. So we have that filling the screen like that. Look, let's drag this to the left viewer. Let's zoom out a bit so we see. So we see the text is completely subsumed in the slab because we can't see the text. So I'm going to go here, click on this, then we can go to transform just to see how the text is. So I'm just going to bring it out a bit. So you see the text is not big. I want it to be slightly bigger than this. So I'm just going to go to the text and see if I can increase the size just a little bit like that. Then I'll click on this handle here and drag it to the middle. Let's hold down Shift so we can see it from the front and see we are good. So that looks just about fine. You'll notice that we are not seeing the text in here. The reason why we are not seeing the text is because this text and the slab are the same color. And you'll see how we'll get that to work. Click on here, Shift spacebar, bring in text 3D again. We can bring it out by pressing Shift spacebar, or we can just drag it down here like I did before. Then I can connect this to this merge 3D too. Now for this text 3D, I'll just type resolve. Then the font I want to use is Proxima Nova. This font, but I don't want it to be bold. I want it to be semi-bold. Then I want to go to transform and let's move it out a bit. And before you do that, let's go back to the text tab and expand extrusion. Set the extrusion depth here to maybe 2. Then bevel width to 0.01. Then this one to 0.01. But it's kind of on the upper part and I needed to move it down. It is still selected. You'll see these handles here. So I'm just going to drag this green one down a bit. So it's kind of centered on the slab. Then I'll go to the text. Let's set the size to 0.75. So that way, if I go back to transform and I move the Z out, see it kind of fits the frame, but it's kind of still too big. So let's set it to maybe 0.7. I want it to just be small. Maybe 0.6 will do. Okay, that's fine. So I'll just go and move it up a little bit like so. So it's at the center of MAD and the slab at the same time, like that. Okay, cool. That looks okay. So now we do the animation. From frame 0, I want to start with MAD. Let's right click on this, rename it to MAD. Then this text 3D, rename it, right click on it, rename it to resolve. So I'm just going to go to this, double click the offset to be 0. Then for resolve to, let's just go to transform and double click the offset Z to 0. So they're all kind of within the slab itself. So I go to text. Now for MAD, I go to text, my bad. Then right click on MAD and click on follower. Follower is what you want to use when you want the text to move following each other. If you get my drift, yeah. So once we right click and click on follower, this modifier tab lights up. Then I click on modifiers, set the delay for MAD to 5. I've done this before. 5 kind of works. Then we click on the transform tab. I click on this keyframe. If you don't click on this keyframe and you move this around, it won't show. It won't have any effect on what is going on. So I first select the keyframe. Then I want this whole animation to last about 35 frames. So I'm going to click on frame 35. Then increase the value until we see MAD showing. So what I'm looking for first is the first letter. Yeah, I'm just going to set that to, let's move, hold down shift and look at it from the side. Yep, I think this is perfect, but not too much in out like that. Okay, like this is better. So if we do 0.4, 0.4 appears to be fine. So we do 0.4, then we go back to, we now add another 35 to this, that will come to frame 70. Then I want to drop this back to 0. Resolve now to start, because if you see MAD come out, at this point MAD has come out. I want MAD going back in before resolve starts. So I'm just going to go here to frame 25 and click on resolve. Right click on the text and click follower. The modifier tab lights up. I set the delay here to 3. Then I go to transform. Click on keyframe. Then I move forward by 35 frames. That will come to frame 60. Then I increase the value until it is this. I look at the R word, this R character. Maybe set this also to 0.3. Okay, so we set this to 0.3. Then we move forward by 35 frames. That will come to, this is frame 60. That will come to frame 95. If you don't want to be doing the math, you can just go here and type plus 35, enter, to take you to the frame you need to get to. Then I drop this back to 0. Okay, so now for the two of them, I can hold down Control, select both nodes, click on Spline Editor, close the inspector to have more space, tick character Z for MAD, tick character Z for resolve, click on zoom to fit so we see the animation here. Click on this icon here to select all the keyframes, click on this icon here to smoothen them out. So what I want to do also is I want to go to this handle here, move this in a bit, like so, until it's almost directly under this. And I go to the other edge of it, this edge here. To make it move on a straight line, you can just hold down Option or Alt on your keyboard and drag. So you don't have to bother about it being straight or not. So we have this sharp movement here. We do the same thing for this one too. So I click outside, let's click on this keyframe here and hold down Alt or Option, then tick like so. In fact, what I'll probably do is let's uncheck MAD so that we have a clearer view of what we're doing. Click on this, click on the handle here, hold down Option or Alt and drag it to almost the middle there. And we can now close the spline editor. Let's say we play this back. We have this here like that. Good. So let's zoom out here. You won't see anything on the renderer node just yet. Okay. Now to get something to show on the renderer node, let's bring a merge node here. Let's bring, to get there to be shadows, I need to bring in a spotlight. So I'm going to drag the spotlight in, but I also want to have some kind of lighting in the environment so it's kind of bright. So I'm going to click on an empty part of the node grid. I'm going to press Shift Spacebar and bring in an ambient light like so. Connect the ambient light to the Merge 3D and connect the spotlight to Merge 3D. And open the inspector tab. Now for ambient light, set the intensity to 0.5 to make everything kind of bright. You see we're still not seeing anything. Then we go to Renderer 3D, tick lighting and tick shadows. So if we go to the point where the text is actually showing, so you see that it's still not showing. That's because we have not moved the spotlight. So I'm going to drag this spotlight to the left viewer. I'm going to zoom out a bit. I'm going to tilt it to the side a bit, like so. Then I'm going to move the spotlight out, like so. Now for this spotlight, under inspector, check the intensity and set it to 0.5. the cone angle. I'm going to drag it to the full. Then I'm going to check the decay type to linear. I'll now use this handle here on this left viewer. Move it back a bit. Then move this up. Like so. And after we move it up like that, I will go and click on this here on the top left corner and use this and drag this so that it's tilted down like so. Then let's say zoom out a bit, shift, turn it this way, click on this. I want to move it to the corner just a little bit like that. Then I'll move it back. So I'm going to hold down shift like that. Hold down shift, then drag this blue out so the light kind of covers the whole frame. We can go to spotlight and just maybe increase the intensity to maybe 0.75. So yeah, so it's a bit more interesting. So now that we have this going, and remember that I increased the shadow map size to the maximum. The reason is this: if you put the shadow map size to the default, you'll see that the shadow doesn't really look nice. It looks disconnected from the text. So, but if you drop the shadow map size down to the highest, it looks more connected to the text itself. Okay, don't go to softness and change this. If you change this to variable, the whole render will become really slow. So let's just move on with this. So now we have, if we play this back now, it's going to drag a little bit, but let's go to the middle here. So we see matte appears. As it disappears, resolve appears. So maybe I want resolve to appear a little faster. So I'm just going to select both of them. Open the keyframe editor, close inspector. Click on zoom to fit, then drag this down a bit, expand both of them. Now for the resolve, I want it to start a little faster. So I'm just going to select all keyframes here and drag it down a bit, maybe like to frame 15, like that. So if we go here, we see that matte comes up. Then as matte goes down, result starts appearing like that. Okay, then I'm looking at this. If you look at the follower for matte, there's another keyframe here that shouldn't be there. So I'm just going to close the keyframe editor, click on matte, go to inspector, go to modifiers, double click modifier to expand it, click, then click again. There shouldn't be this here, so I'm just going to uncheck this keyframe and go back here and we're good. Okay, so I've cleaned that out. We have the animation going, so we want the slab to now fly in. So to have the whole thing flying, let's click on here and shift spacebar, bring in a transform 3D node. Let's move this like so, hold down shift. So we look at the left viewer like that. Let's drag this to the left viewer. So I want at the beginning of the animation, I want the slab to be off the screen. So let's keyframe the Y under translation and X, Y, Z under rotation. Now for this point, I want it to be completely off the screen. So I increase the value till it's completely off the screen. So let's just set it at 1.35. Then I can go to the X values, set this to maybe 30. No, minus 30, sorry. Minus 30. Then this one to minus 30. Then Z, let's set that to maybe minus 15. Okay, so we see it's completely off the screen. Let's zoom out a bit on the right screen. So I'm using the renderer output here to know whether the slab is completely off the render. So that's at the beginning, but I want this whole animation to happen and get to the middle, then drop off. So at the middle, the middle of this animation, this whole thing is 120 frames. So the middle is around 60. This is 60. So I want this animation to finish around frame 50. So I'm going to go here and set this to 0. so that it fills the screen. 0, 0, and 0. So it fills the screen. Then we go to 10 frames after 60. That's 70. On the 70, we keyframe that. And we go to the last keyframe by clicking on this. It goes to the last keyframe. Then we drop it. So I'm just going to drag this down. So it goes all the way down, down, down. Down like so. I just set it to maybe minus 1.25. Then the X value, I want it to be, let's say 30. Then the Y value should be around maybe 30 still. And then the Z value, I want it to be, let's say 15. 15 is, let's say minus 15 still. Okay, so I need to drop this Y value a bit more so I can drop it so it completely goes off the screen. So I'm looking at the right view too. So let's just say 1.4. So it's fine here. But there's something I want to happen, because if you look at this, that means once it gets to this point here, it stops completely. I don't want it to stop completely. I want it to be moving, however imperceptibly. Do you understand? So I'm just going to go to this point where I keyframed it here. These are the two keyframes here. So for this keyframe here, I'll just put this up a little bit. I'll move it up a little bit. Let's say I move it up by 0.1. It's showing the background. I don't want to show the background, so maybe 0.05 or 0.25. So you see it's covered the screen, 0.025. Then the X value too can be 0.05. Sorry, minus 0.05. Maybe we can say minus 0.1. Then minus 0.12 for this one, and minus 0.1 for this one. So just something imperceptible. Then we go to the other keyframe here and set it to the other value. So we set this one down to maybe minus 0.1. It's showing too much, so maybe we say minus 0.025. So it still covers the screen. Then we go here and set this to 0.1, 0.1, and this one is going to be minus 0.1. So it's still covering the screen. So now we can do spline editor for all of them. So we've done for this. So we go to the spline editor for Transform 3D, expand that, close inspector so that we have a bit more space. So what we do for the first, let's select all of them, zoom to fit, click on this to select all the keyframes and press this for the curve. Now what we want is the situation where when it comes in pretty fast, then goes out pretty slow. So we select the first part of the keyframe, this part, right click, go to ease and set it to arc cubic, so it comes out pretty fast and slows down. Then this other part here, select this last two, right click and go here and say in cubic, so it slowly goes out. So we're going to do a little something. Let's uncheck this last three like that. Now for this one, we can just increase the vertical stuff here. You see this thing here, we don't want that. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to press F for flat on the keyboard. Click on this other keyframe, F for flat on the keyboard. Now I'm going to drag the handle here so that this kind of points at this keyframe here. I'm going to click on this one to make sure this one kind of points at this keyframe here. Uncheck this twice and tick this, and do the same thing for this one to increase the vertical resolution. Select both keyframes, press F to flatten both of them. Increase it a bit more so we can see the keyframes. Then make sure it points to that keyframe and do the same thing for this one. Double click twice to make it disappear. Click on this other one too. Do the same thing for this one too. So, okay, select both of them, press F for flat on the keyboard, increase it a bit more so that you can see the keyframe difference. Then we can make sure this points to that keyframe and this points to that keyframe. Double click twice to make it disappear, then click on this, increase the vertical resolution here, and for this one, press flat, then increase it just a bit more. Oops. So this one looks to be fine. So I'm just going to uncheck this, close the spline editor. We just want to add a little jazz to this. So I'm just going to go here, select all this, expand this a bit more, drag this a bit more here. Then I'll just go here and click on here, shift spacebar. I want to give it a material brushed metal look. I'm going to bring in a replace material 3D. Now to get the brushed metal shader, I'm just going to open the effects tab, expand templates, expand fusion, click on shaders, drag in brushed metal and connect that here. You'll see how it makes this now look. So it looks just a little bit jazzier. And now we can drag this media out here and connect and bring a merge node here. Let's say we bring this merge node here. You could actually just connect this directly to the media out, but good practice means that we connect it to the merge node. And now if you go to the edit page, you'll see we have this here. So we can put this fusion comp. Let me hold down Alt so that we make a duplicate of it. We can put this here such that when it's at the center here, it is covering the whole screen. Let's say I right click on this, I say render in place. You can give it any name. Instead of ProRes 422, because we want it to be transparent, we click on this drop down and pick ProRes 444 XQ and render in place. Pick a location for the render, click OK. I wait for it to render. So now it's finished rendering. Let's play it back. And that looks better. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me on this one. And see you on the next one.